The UK nuclear missile test fails for second time in 8 years. This is Marcel with IrnieracingNews, guys. Here we're reading a funny story about the UK and their nuclear deterrent over the many years of failure. The Ministry of Defense says it was an anomaly occurred during firing of Trident weapon in January. So, a British nuclear missile test failed after the Trident weapon crashed into the sea near the submarine that fired it, in another embarrassing flop after the UK's last trial launched also failed 8 years ago. Yep. The Ministry of Defense confirmed on Tuesday that an anomaly occurred during the latest test firing of the Trident II ballistic missile, which took place on January 30th off the coast of Florida. Why are they shooting it off the coast of Florida? What's going on with the U.S. NATO military-industrial complex? It said Britain's nuclear deterrent remained safe, secure, and effective. Where have we heard that before? Oh, shit. As a matter of national security, we cannot provide further information on this, added the Defense Ministry. However, we are confident that the anomaly was event-specific, and therefore there are no implications for the reliability of the wider Trident missile systems and stockpiles. It reminds me of COVIDism, the reliability. Don't worry, it's reliable, even though you got this many people just sudden death syndrome. Adding to the embarrassment, First Sea Lord Admiral Sir Ben Key and Defense Secretary Grant Shapps were on board the HMS Vanguard to witness the test launch in January. The crew on the submarine had just performed their drills, and the Trident II missile, which was armed with dummy warheads, thank God, was propelled into the air with compressed gas and launch tubes, according to The Sun, which first reported the story. But the missile's first stage boosters did not ignite, and the weapon crashed into the sea nearby. Sun reported it was understood that it had the firing taken place during a real mission rather than under test conditions, it would have been successful. Well, that seems very contradictory. How could it ever be successful if it only leaves the launch tube with compressed air, but the actual booster to shoot the missile somewhere further than right next to you did not ignite? What a contradiction. The ministers are expected to make a statement about what happened on Wednesday. Despite the failed Trident launch, the Defense Ministry said it retained, quote, absolute confidence in the UK's nuclear deterrent. Just like the boosters, guys. Absolute confidence. British officials said the Trident missile system was, quote, one of the most reliable weapon systems in the world, end quote, and had successfully completed 190 tests. Well, what year were these tests done? The UK's last successful launch of a Trident missile took place in 2012. Wow, like 14 years ago. The 2016 Trident test failure was reportedly due to a problem with the data acquisition system that forced the missile's controllers to divert the weapon into an ocean as a safety precaution. The latest failed test launch comes after Shapps recently described the UK as being in, quote, pre-war phase. Well, let's continue. Yet after decades of budget cuts and readiness of Britain's armed forces is increasingly coming into question, most recently by the Common Defence Committee. In a recent report, it said the UK armed forces were overstretched and in a peer-to-peer conflict would exhaust their capabilities in a couple of months. In another recent mishap, one of UK's two state-of-the-art aircraft carriers, the HMS Queen Elizabeth, was kept back from participating in the largest NATO military exercise since the Cold War because of a malfunction with one of its propeller shafts. It was replaced by the HMS Prince of Wales. Oh, Mr. Prince of Wales. HMS Vanguard is one of the 4 nuclear-powered submarines used by the UK to silently patrol the world's oceans and maintain the country's continuous nuclear deterrent. Commissioned into service in the 1990s, the Vanguard-class submarines are due to be replaced with the next-generation Dreadnought class in the 2030s. Anyway, some good irony here, guys. Britain in pre-war stage failures. Yeah, they can't keep up with their own military-industrial complex. This is Irnieracing News, guys, reading you a story here from today.